Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. How are you doing today, my dear brothers and sisters? How are you doing today? We have a hell of a show for you today. I tell you, it is interesting what is going on here. Anybody out here watching what's going on the with this confirmation? Anybody watching? I mean, it is one of those really crazy things. And you sit back and you watch it and you wonder, is this real? It is like having two different groups of people that you are watching. Two different groups. Anyhow, we are going to have a great show for you today. I need to go ahead and manually cue a few things, given that I made a slight mistake with my auto cue today. So what I'm going to be doing as I speak to you is cue. You know what? You know how you say that? I've got to go ahead and cue my programs because when you only have one producer, you know what that really means. It means that you got to do everything. Anyhow, if you're just joining us, folks, please, I ask you so kindly, please remember to share our programs. That is how we are going to get the job done. Without you, the job doesn't get done. We simply need you to be a part of our sharing scheme. We need you to be a part of Informing America. We need you to be a part of doing all the things that are necessary to ensure that we can get our message out. And as you can see, I am stalling for time as I share to my different networks. But we are going to get the networks all shared. I see that, let's see, Michael Rudnin says he only has a slight sore throat now, intermittent cough. I'm glad that you're feeling good. Antibiotics and warm tea. Bridge MCP, welcome. Jacoby G. Tomorrow is the big day, EW. Here we go. Still timid to vote for Biden, but I suppose it is the best. Jacoby, I love you, brother. You are a sensible person. Not that those who just can't come across aren't sensible, but we have to do what's right. A child does not get up and walk immediately. They have a tendency to crawl first till they learn how to walk. And that's what many of us, I think, need to get done. We have to learn how to walk. Well, actually, we know how to walk, but I mean, we have to play the role, right? We got to make believe that things aren't the way they are so that we can get to the ultimate goal that we're trying to get to. And when we get there, it is all good. But anyhow, we have a great show for you today. Give me about a minute more to get all these good things shared to my peeps and make sure all of these things are out there. As I get them out there, I can then give my full devotion to my, when you reach a certain age after a while that it's like, am I thinking the right way? Can I do three things at the same time as I used to do in the past? I think I still can. And guess what? I am with you 100% now. So let's have some fun, people. Let's have some fun. Title of the show today, and let me bring that to the screen. Title of the show is, para ver, Saved by the ACA. Klobuchar slams Trump. White House super spreader refuses. He simply refuses to wear a mask for the reporters, right? And delusional voter. Those are the main videos that we're going to show. We're going to have some fun doing that. Amy Klobuchar had the message of the day, and it seemed like Klobuchar, that one I gave you a chance to see early, did I? Yes, I did. So I guess you got a chance to see that one already. Tank 28, welcome aboard. Jackie Odell, welcome aboard. Norman Reynolds, my brother, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard, welcome aboard. Michael Rudnin, I spoke to you, right? Yes, I did. Okay, anyhow, going to the topics again. PDR, Politics Done Right supporter Paul Fleming becomes our subject today, discussing how ACA saved his life. Klobuchar slammed Trump in her way, Trump enabling continues. And I've had several of our supporters as the subjects here. Bruce Pollard was a subject on Politics Done Right more than 2 times, I think. I think, Bruce, I think I had you in at KPFT as well, right? If I haven't, I thought I might have, but I know you have been on the show here a couple of times. We've also had Carl Smith, who is also a supporter of the show. Norman Reynolds will be on pretty soon because Norman and I are going to discuss a very, very important subject, and I want everybody to be there to listen to the deconstruction of a very important book that Norman Reynolds read recently. Masticator! After listening to this show for a while now, and it is pretty clear Berto doesn't think well. His skills lies in completely absorbing the integrating the daily talking points thoroughly. Well, thank you, Masticator. I don't think that is the case. In fact, if I did the daily talking points, then I wouldn't need a show, right? And I don't think that's what I do. I kind of do quite, maybe you'll see that in some of the other things that we do. Tia Mark Z. Arevalo. Portuguesa, right? I think so. Roberto Lewis can't wait to vote. And I think it starts on Tuesday. We'll verify that for sure. But the judge, once again, the judge has stamped down on having one voter location. In other words, every county, the counties in Houston or in Texas are enormous. Harris County, biggest county in the country, land-wise. And second largest, I think, our county is just huge. And our voter suppressing governor is saying in Harris County and every county, there's only one drop box. If you don't trust the mail and you want to drop your mail off, one drop box. Might as well if you're going to go to a drop box. Although in Harris County, we have great leaders here. So they're allowing you to just drive in the line and pass your ballot in, and they'll take the ballot. And, but anyhow, they're trying to make it as difficult as possible to vote. People are voting en masse. If you go to Atlanta, if you go to Georgia right now, Georgia is seeing an explosion in voting never seen before. It turns out Biden may win Georgia because there are not enough people who support Trump. Trump and the Republicans depend on suppressed votes so that they can get all their votes out to win. But when you take polls, this is not Egberto's imagining. When you take polls say Americans are where we are. We just generally don't vote. So remember, once you see the volume of voting you're seeing now, they've already maximized most of their votes. The increased volume of votes that we're doing speaks well for the positions that we're going for. Now, wait a minute. It's funny because another one of my supporters sent me that message that Breach just brought up right now. It's an important message, Breach. And for all our national listeners, I want to tell you this. Before you drop your mail in a drop box, please remember to make sure it's a real drop box. I'm going to be honest with you folks. For every state that has early voting, if you are able to go to the grocery store and feel safe enough, not completely safe, but safe enough going to the grocery store, please, by all means, vote in person. Whether it's early voting in person or voting otherwise in person. That way we know you're voting where you're supposed to vote, and you don't have to worry about a vote box that is not legal or a vote box that is there to steal the votes and throw them away. All that. We don't know all the different shenanigans that people are going to try, but we know they're going to try shenanigans. It is up to us to be responsible voters. Now, there are and not only up to us to do the voting ourselves, but let's please help our people vote. Let's please enlighten our people to all the tricks that these people play so that we can get an honest assessment of our vote. And if we get an honest assessment of our vote, like I've said before, this is going to be a landslide, seldom seen in America. Bazooka Grooves, welcome. We just got a new member. Bazooka Grooves. Thank you so kindly for becoming a new member on YouTube. Folks, if you're on YouTube, please become a member. That is how you make sure that we get this message out. That is how you make sure that we continue to get all that we need to do, get done. Anyhow, so if at all you can vote in person, whether it's early voting or on election day, but I mean, if there's early voting, it gives you several days with which to go ahead and form. They're doing it in Georgia. I am so excited with what I'm seeing in Georgia. I'm so excited with what I'm seeing with what I'm seeing around the country. People are seeing that this vote is really existential. And you want me to tell you why it's existential? Because we have people like this running our country. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
I tell you what, let me do this. Let me pull this away.
Yep, pull away.
And then that way I can take this off the top. Well, I'm more than 10 feet away. I'm not going to talk through it. I tell you what, let me do this. Let me pull this away.
Yep, pull away.
And then that way I can take this off the top. Well, I'm more than 10 feet away. I'm not going to talk through it.
Now, folks, that is the chief of staff of President Trump, our super spreader president who continued spreading the virus even though he knew he had it. And above and beyond that, let's remember that he's going on the campaign trail tonight. Nobody has said that he's negative other than Trump. But you know, if Trump's mouth is moving, it's lying. So notice his doctors, no doctor of his came out and said Donald Trump has tested negative for the virus. They just said he can be out there, which means the guy is probably shedding viruses and some of the virus may be dead, but who knows what he has, because you know he's a very irresponsible president. Okay? So he's going on a campaign trail in Florida today. And what he's going to be doing is putting people at risk. We cannot have that kind of leadership. It's a clear and present danger to all Americans. But you know, Amy Klobuchar did what was so important. Exactly, Nanette Bird Smith, very arrogant. Let me show you what Amy Klobuchar. I was so happy with Amy. You know, Amy, Amy's too centrist for me. But when it comes to sitting back and saying what is fair for the American people, every Democrat, no matter how centrist they are thus far, and some Republicans, I won't name any right now because you don't want to get them in trouble. You know, they do care. I mean, you don't have to be, Julie Henderson, welcome aboard. You don't have to be, what's the word that I want to use? Look, I understand everybody's not going to be, completely to the left like I am. And like many of us are, many of us not. And I respect everybody. But I respect those who take care of people. Let's listen to Klobuchar, and then we'll take it on the other side.
To the women of America, we have come so far, and in the name of RBG, we should not go backwards. As the rabbi said at Justice Ginsburg's memorial in the Capitol, her dissent, her strong words when she would disagree with the Republican-appointed justices, her words were never cries of defeat. They were blueprints for the future. So to all Americans, this hearing, whatever these guys try to do, whatever you hear from me, it will not be a cry of defeat. It will instead be our blueprint for the future. Yes, Judge, I think this hearing is a sham. I think it shows real messed up priorities from the Republican Party. But I am here to do my job, to tell the truth. To all Americans, we don't have some clever procedural way to stop this sham, to stop them from rushing through a nominee, but we have a secret weapon that they don't have. We have Americans who are watching, who work hard every day, believe in our country and the rule of law, whether they are Democrats, Republicans, or independent. They know what this president and the Republican Party are doing right now is very wrong. In fact, 74% of Americans think we should be working on a COVID relief package right now instead of this. Let me tell you a political secret. I doubt that it will be a brilliant cross-examination that's going to change this judge's trajectory this week. No, it is you. It is you calling Republican senators and telling them enough is enough, telling them it is personal, telling them they have their priorities wrong. So do it. And it is you voting even when they try to do everything to stop you. It is you making your own blueprint for the future instead of crying defeat. So do it. This isn't Donald Trump's country. It is yours. This shouldn't be Donald Trump's judge. It should be yours.
It's not Donald Trump's judge. It's not Donald Trump's country. It is absolutely so. Bridge, as far as fracking is concerned, right? One step at a time. One step at a time. There are people in Pennsylvania who depend on their income from their lands on fracking. And to just have the slogan, "I am going to ban fracking," doesn't work. What we have to do when we are making policy is to make sure that the policy is mitigated to do no harm, and that is how Democrats, progressives operate. Do no harm. We've had a society for a long time that people who have land have mineral rights and they can do whatever with those mineral rights. There are things that have to be mitigated, and we have to find an equitable manner in which we do it. So it would be counterproductive to simply, in effect, saying no more. In effect, what it is if we're saying no more fracking, no more fracking, they will go out there and say, "Oh, that is taking income away." It's not the truth. What we have to do is get into power and then use power to educate, to mitigate, and as Rodney will say, continue fracking is game over for global warming. You're absolutely right, but we're not going to continue fracking. Again, as I said, but in order to stop fracking, you can't allow them to use fracking to stop you from winning so you can stop fracking. I mean, I think, and that is what we have to start instructing people about, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, what? Just say all the things that you support." Well, the thing about it is everything that you support, if you don't have the complete narrative, and I'm going to show you a little about that with one of the Congress people here in Texas. Because, well, I tell you what, let me tell you a problem that we have right now. I want to play you this, and then we'll take it on the other side, and then we'll take it on the other side. Earlier this month, I had a program on Politics Done Right where I spoke about the depression will not be televised. After watching this piece, I can't express the amount of frustration that one should have listening to a woman like this, which also says that those of us in the independent media have to do a whole lot that the mainstream media isn't doing to really get this point across, or to make sure that the point that this woman was trying to get across doesn't make it. Check this out and we'll take it on the other side.
Maricopa County, which includes Phoenix, has by far the largest voting population in the state, and the county went for Trump by 3 points in 2016.
He follows through on what he says.
Barbie Ruin also voted for Gary Johnson in 2016, but now likes what she's seen from President Trump.
Since coronavirus has come out, our economy has stayed fairly stable. And that to me is astonishing, especially considering the number of people who are out of jobs because they can't go in. He's allowing the states to make the decisions for themselves, which is what it should be.
Look, this woman is not a bad person. This woman is a victim of what she sees. This woman is a victim that cannot see. Maybe she reads here and there that there are 40 million people unemployed or however many there are. Maybe she understands those concepts in her mind that is occurring, but somehow it's not affecting the economy in her mind because what she sees is something that has a relation to normalcy. However, that's not the case. People in America are great in suffering in silence. And that's what most Americans do. They suffer in silence. The people that are in bread lines, the people that are in food, are going to food banks every day. We have everything looking quite antiseptic. You go to the ballpark in a car with mountains of pre-selected foods that are just boxed into your car. It looks so nice. It looks so normal. But within the psyche of that person that is going to those food lines and those food banks that don't look all that bad, because you don't see people drooling in dirty clothes. They're still in their cars. They're still doing what they have to do. Folks, we need the fourth estate to be doing a better job. We need America to understand the depression that is occurring. We need them to understand what this type of an economic system is doing to peoples, not only in their psyche, but in the reality of what their outcomes as they get older will be. It is something that we need to do and need to do sooner rather than later before we get to the point of no comeback, the permanency of indentured servitude. We spend a Okay, after this, I want to do my little my little pitch here first, and then I'm going to show you a video. It turns out that one of the big races here in our county for a Congress person going to Washington interviewed on one of my shows at KPFT, and they made a commercial, an ad for the opposition ad. And it used our video to attack the candidate that we would want to win. So I'm going to show you that. But beforehand, I want to ask all of you that are watching to please, if you're on YouTube, please consider going on and hitting that join button. Become a member. Support what we do. Support that we are going to be here, not just till the election, but way beyond the election to make sure that we keep the progressive message out and help empower people to make sure they're not snowed by politicians. So if you are on YouTube right now, please click the join button. Let me see that you've joined. I'll announce you like I just announced a new member that we just got, Bazooka Groups, who just joined our YouTube family. So please click on join, or if you like one of our teacups or our sweaters or t-shirts that you see there under the video, consider getting those as well. That is how you help the show survive. If you're not on YouTube but you would like to become a member on YouTube, which is, like I said, very inexpensive, go ahead and click politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, and you can become a supporter on YouTube that way. I'm putting the link in again because apparently it doesn't always go over to Facebook. It just went over to Facebook now. So please consider becoming a member on YouTube or on Patreon. We'd like to maximize our membership on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Please consider becoming a member. And of course, you can shop at our store, which is at politicsdoneright.com/store, where of course you can get what again? You can get our cup that has the Politics Done Right sign on it. I support independent media. We have a lot of different cups of many types. And you can get our book. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. I have it in stock here. If you buy it directly from the store, I'll send you an autographed copy. You can also get our book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And, I've always had weight problems, and I've solved that. And this is how I did it. Lose weight and be fit now. I wrote that one to say, if I can do it, others can as well. So if you go to politicsdoneright.com/store, you can get it. But of course, you can get it at Amazon. All those books are also found at Amazon if you'd prefer to get it at Amazon. If you buy it directly from the store, I'll send them autographed. If you go to Amazon, you can go ahead and get it. They'll send it to you right away. There it is, the link. I just placed the link, the direct link to Amazon I just placed in the feed as well. So please consider doing that as well. We'll be most obliged if you would go get our book. That's the book. Funny Tank. Funny Tank. Anyhow, I want to play you this. This is important, and then I'll give you the narrative on the other side. Here we go with Kulkarni. A couple years ago, a really good politician that was running in District 20 came on Politics Done Right, the one that we do at KPFT. He came into the studio, and I interviewed him, his opponent, and we spoke about Medicare for all, healthcare for people, all that good stuff. And he gave a solid interview. He's not a left-wing liberal. Actually, he's a pretty moderate guy. And in fact, I kind of went ahead and sort of tried to push to get some of what he believed out, because I never thought. I think many of the people running in Texas are not outwardly. They are not as progressives as Texas needs them to be. And notice I said they are not as progressive as Texas needs them to be. And the reason for that isn't anything within their soul, within their hearts. It's because of this false narrative that the Republicans in this state have one believing that the great Texas population are not ready for those things that progressives have to offer, which Texans are dying. Over 1 million Texans are without health insurance, and with COVID-19, likely a whole lot more. So they need support. So I saw this. I'm going to play this commercial that came on against this candidate that interviewed with me on Politics Done Right, and then I'll take it on the other side. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Shri Kulkarni is recklessly liberal.
So I support a single-payer system, and I would support the current bill for Medicare for all.
Kulkarni backs a socialist healthcare takeover that would eliminate private health insurance and could close dozens of rural Texas hospitals.
I would support the current bill for Medicare for all.
Shri Kulkarni's plan? Government-run healthcare for Texas. Shri Kulkarni. He's recklessly liberal. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now, I expect the Republican to play an ad like that. The belief that Americans, and specifically here in Texans, that Texans are stupid. And one of the reasons that they think that is, first of all, Texans don't vote. And why don't they vote? They do all kinds of things to make it difficult to vote, mind control, making it difficult with voter ID. I mean, if you want to move yourself ahead, you don't necessarily believe in gun. You're agnostic towards guns, but you believe in getting yourself ahead. So you enroll in a public university in the state of Texas, and that state of Texas gives you an ID. You cannot vote in Texas with that ID, but if you have a license, a gun license, a card that says I can carry a gun, you can vote and use that as an ID in Texas. So you see, the belief here in Texas is that we are all stupid. After all, there are 1 million of us without health insurance, Texans that is. And not only that, but we have to recall that even though there's 1 million of us, we don't want health care, even though our state, the state of Texas, is paying the United States government billions in taxes that we are not recovering to heal our people, to ensure our people. So that is what the Republican orthodoxy in Texas is doing. And that person, Nels, that is running against Kulkarni, that's what he is going to continue to promote in Washington. Actually, what he wants to promote in Washington is worse, because already in Texas, there are 1 million people that don't qualify for the Affordable Care Act because we decided not to accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, which means they're without health care. 1 million Texans are without health care. Thousands of them die every year because of criminal negligence by Republicans in this state. Now, going forward, we are going to lose, assuming they go ahead and put that judge, Amy Coney Barrett, if they go ahead and install her. She has spoken out against Roberts protecting the Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act. So she's going to get rid of that. So what I want to bring up is as follows. We have the Republicans having the pelotas during a pandemic to attack another Congress, somebody running for Congress, a Democrat running for Congress, wanting to provide health care to more than 1 million Texans. And this guy saying, I'm going to take it away for you. And this guy's a socialist for wanting to give you health care. He doesn't want to change the Constitution. He wants to give you health care. He wants to make sure you can go to the doctor. He wants to make sure that if your kid gets sick, they don't die. He wants to make sure that if your kid gets that under 26, up to 26, your kid can still be on your insurance. He wants to make sure that is your reality. And he's creating advertising to make that a chain around the neck of a Democrat. To which I say, shame on you Democrats for allowing it to be used as a chain, as a noose, as a collar against you. Because you should be jumping on the bandwagon to say, okay, thank you for opening that debate. Now let's talk about what I am going to do for the people that I will represent in Texas, and let's talk about what you are going to do. And I can write a 30-second commercial, a 30-second ad that makes that person I am running against criminally negligent. Criminally negligent. Someone who is committing voluntary manslaughter against the people he represents. It is imperative that we put it in those terms. They are doing a good job at it. They're doing a good job at, go ahead, Kulkarni, socialist, Democrat. No, Kulkarni cares about you, will heal you, but if you don't vote for me, if you vote for Nels, you're voting to get rid of your health care. You're voting to kill many of your fellow American citizens. You're voting to kill many Texans. Use his ad against him. Because Americans, and specifically Texans, are not stupid, but they want to see somebody who has the pelotas to fight for them. They want to see somebody who's going to say, this is what I will do for you, and this guy, if you elect him, he will kill you or many people who you love. I am the moral one here. This representative who supports your health care, is the moral person, is the person who, for those of you who are Christians, and many Texans are, Jesus would be looking saying, you are doing what I would have done. Nels is doing the work of the devil. I'm just a humanist. I'm just saying, if I were a Christian, that is the narrative I would put. The opposition, those who oppose health care, those who oppose policies that make your life better, are doing the work of evil. Our Democratic politicians need to stop using Ivy League, whatever kind of advice they're getting from analysts. They pay these guys tens of thousands of dollars to give them advice. These are people that know nothing about how people are living on Main Street. These are people that generally don't know the real pain many are going through. Yet, they create these ads that somehow they believe is going to resonate. Well, you know who speak to people who know people? Republicans. When they put their ads out, they talk to the common man. And that's why their ads are simplistic and to the core and go for the jugular. When we start doing that, we will win. When we do that, we in fact will win. Anyhow, folks, let's get to our interview. But what happens is they used the interview that he did with us. That was Politics Done Right at KPFT. They used the interview that we did to attack him. But what I've been waiting for, and I sent him a text, to be honest with you, saying, look, I love the guy. The guy is great. He's going to make a great congressperson. But it is time for us to stop biting our tongues. You can be civil and tell the truth. Our Republican politicians are killing Americans. Our Republican Texans have murdered Texans. And when you see dead bodies that don't have to be dead, it's murder. Why can't we say it? There's nothing uncivil about that. It is the truth. What is uncivil is killing these people with your policies knowingly. We are giving away money because we don't want to have that ideology in Texas because of the evilness within our belief system. Anyhow, let's go ahead and listen to the star Paul Fleming, who is a supporter of Politics Done Right. We had an interview with his story on the ACA. So here we go, Paul. Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. I have a special guest with us today, Paul Fleming. Paul Fleming is a regular listener to Politics Done Right, and he made a comment in the feed, and I said, man, we've got to talk. Will you give me the of having you interviewed? And he said yes. Paul Fleming, welcome to Politics Done Right. How are you doing today, my friend?
Fine, sir. Thank you so much. It's my privilege to be on your show. I was really unexpected, really excited, and I'm looking forward to telling my story because I'm sure that a lot of Americans have gone through what I've gone through, but I was still fortunate in a lot of ways how the ending of it happened. So,
well, let me tell you, Paul. Here's the deal. America is a place of stories, right? And if we don't start telling people stories, we allow the plutocracy, those in power, to create stories to make Americans believe that they are not the norm. That
right.
And believing you are not the norm is one way of cutting your legs from under you because you don't have then the fortitude to go fight the battle because you think you're alone. But Americans are not alone. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, Paul?
Sure. In 2004, I was a business consultant, first of all, and I traveled across the Southeast. And me being gone the way gone so much. When I come home, I just start with chores. I may cook dinner for the family, and then gather all the children's clothing, and that's what I do for the weekend: cut the lawn, and have good family time with my children. And then Saturday morning, doing those same chores, washing clothes, got ready to take them back upstairs, and it's like someone turned the light switch off. I totally lost the left side of my body. Couldn't move my arms, my legs. And I'm like, I had just lost 40 pounds. So I'm like, I know I'm not having a heart attack, but I found myself laying in the foyer area looking up at the chandelier.
Oh, you actually fell?
Yes, to the ground. And if you ever seen the movie Kill Bill, when she's in the wagon saying, wiggle your big toe, when I saw that movie, I laughed because it's the exact same experience as what I went through, trying to just get my toes to move. And it felt like forever, but I probably was on the ground maybe 5-7 minutes before I could get my legs to move and then my fingers to wiggle and then get my motion back. And I stood up, I did 10 jumping jacks, and I sprinted up both flights of stairs. And I looked back down at where I was lying, and I was like, wow, I need to make a doctor's appointment. And so I didn't tell my wife, I didn't tell anybody. Went through the rest of the day, no problem, because I'm an early riser, so that was about 7:30 in the morning. The next day, doing the same exact thing, it happened again. But this time, my youngest child, Christopher, was looking down at me. He started screaming for his mother because I guess he could see the distress in my face. Long story short, I told her what was going on. I had to have my son come in our bedroom and let him watch me, let him know that dad was okay. And so I made an appointment the next day. And that journey took about a month before the doctors could figure out what was going on.
But wait a minute, Paul. You're saying that even though to me, that sounded sort of like a stroke event. And you're telling me, why did you wait?
Because nothing happened after that. Once I got up the second time, nothing happened again.
Okay.
So, and so that Monday, cause Sunday that was on a Sunday. So Monday morning, I went to my doctor, and he was an older gentleman. And so he just walked in the room and said, well, Mr. Fleming, you just need to lose some weight. And that enraged me because had he looked at my chart, I had just lost 40 pounds. So it wasn't my weight. So I said, here's your $20, and I left. I called my mom. She said, son, you need to go see a neurologist. And when I went to see a neurologist, I went through a battery of tests. And it took a month, but then they figured out after they did a spinal tap that I had the fluids that would indicate I had multiple sclerosis.
Okay. Now, let me tell you what is so disconcerting with your trip to the doctor. I remember going to a doctor myself once, and I'm going to tell you, link these two stories together because this is multiple components here. I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor I went for physical, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you're a big strapping guy. You know, he pretty much said I really didn't need a physical." And then he said, by the way, physicals don't usually tell you anything anyway. That's what he's telling me, right?
I had
Then
the same experience.
right. I had some other people that went to doctors and they've never been told anything like that, right? Now, when you go into that doctor and he just looks at you and say maybe lose some more weight, but you had an event that actually looked like a stroke. What gave you what do you think was the reason that you got that treatment?
I really truly believe because I was an African American that I got
Okay.
that treatment at the end of the day because I played football from grade school to college. And I was used to having a physical every year. Even when I got married, I would have a physical every year. And the doctors would always tell me, well, you really don't need a physical. You're young, you're strong. You really, why you keep coming and have a physical? And my response was, well, my family history indicates that we've had strokes, cancer. So I believe in preventive maintenance. So I'm going to try to keep my body right, but at the same time, I need it reinforced by your medical practice. And I've changed doctors several times over the course of my life because I
And it
try to
has happened several times, right?
yeah, I explained to my mom and my siblings. I like, look, they work for you. You don't work for them. If I work for them, then they would be paying me. I'm paying them. And so that's my approach. And I fired several doctors during the course of this, only to come back to my original neurologist, who kept me. But during that journey, I changed jobs. It's 2004, so 2006, I changed jobs. And because my wife wanted me to be closer to home, so I changed jobs. And in doing so, when applying for insurance for my family, the response came back, they would insure my family for $500 a month, but I wouldn't be insured because they considered it a pre-existing condition.
Your multiple sclerosis was pre-existing.
Yes. Yes.
And was this employer-based insurance?
It's employer-based insurance.
What year was this?
2006.
So that was before Obamacare.
Right. And that's why I said Obamacare saved me. When I put in that text, I said, if it wasn't from Obamacare, who knows where I would have been.
Now, what happened when they told you they could only insure the family? What did you do then?
Well, I just felt hopeless then. It was really nothing that I could do because if I changed jobs again, the insurance companies, they run the show and don't want to take that liability. So I just continued to try to work out, but my condition started to get worse because eventually.
Wait. Let me stop you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Are you telling me that you stayed without insurance while your family had insurance for that period of time?
Yes.
How long was that?
Until Obama got elected.
Oh boy.
So
You're
I went.
telling me 12. I mean, not about 2 years, 3 years.
I went like 20 insurance
Wow.
for myself, but my family was insured, which I'm paying $500 a month for their insurance. And but in the meantime, I started losing. I couldn't walk. I couldn't put any pressure on my feet, and so and this it shows you what a blessing it was that he got elected because this happened right as he got it right. I would say 2 or 3 months after they passed Obamacare.
That's when
I immediately signed up for insurance and got coverage because I went from struggling to walk to a wheelchair.
No.
Because I couldn't put any pressure on my feet. The pain was just too great. And then I started to lose usage of my left arm again. And so, I try to tell people that, we need Medicare for all, or however they want to do it. I think when you're born in this country, and we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, that every American deserves insurance. Every American deserves insurance because luckily my wife's a realtor, because the medical bills, the first payment of my medication was $15,000.
What?
$15,000. Every year, up until last year, it dropped down to 10,000, but it was $15,000. That first payment is $15,000. So with that being said, we had to sell our home, and that was, it's like my
You
kids
had to
were,
sell your house
yes.
because you had to come up with $15,000 per month or
No,
per,
just
per
that
year?
first payment, just that first payment for the insurance, because you have a deductible. So that
Right.
first payment was $15,000. Then it went to $2,200 a month. And then during the course of the year, it lowered. And by December, then you're paying like $450, $500 a month.
That was after Obamacare.
Right. Because
My-
that's just how the insurance company does it. And so we had to sell our home. So, my kids weren't used to living in an apartment. I've lived in apartments before. My kids were used to being in a home. And
Right.
so that really affected me spiritually, mentally, and but my kids, kids are pretty resilient.
Right.
They didn't take it like I thought they would have taken it, because they saw, okay, there's a swimming pool,
Yeah.
our kids area was a basketball court, and so they took it in stride. But me being the father, the breadwinner of the family, that really hurt me.
No,
And so,
no, Paul, and this is what's so important. Your story is probably replicated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times in America. And the
most
funny thing about it is there are a lot of people that, well, you know what it was like to have insurance, lose it, have to sell a home because of it. One of the problems, I think, is that there are so many people, let's say in Appalachia, so many people in all these places that never even had a home, never
Right.
ever knew what it was like to have had,
right.
that they can be snowed by the likes of Donald Trump and other evil politicians who don't want to provide the health care that should be a right to every American citizen.
They put racism in the way to make them think that they're better than everyone else.
Right.
That they make the poorest white man feel that he's richer than a middle class black man.
And
And so
in order
they
to
keep
do
voting
that,
against their own
I'm
interests.
sorry.
They keep voting against their own interests over and over and over again, because they're stuck in that little bubble where they're just listening to the same information over and over again. And I've had this discussion, on Facebook with a few of my classmates, because I had a classmate tell me, "Oh, there's no more racism." And I had to explain to this person that part of the reason why I left my consulting job was because before police officers start pulling the trigger on people of color, that when I was a consultant, I would get a rental car. And so I would fly into Kenner and get a rental car, Louisiana, and I was headed to Lake Charles, and a state trooper pulled me over. Now I have on my polo shirt that indicated who I work for. Talked to the cop maybe 5 minutes. Even went to the point of trying to ease this police officer and open my trunk, showed him the product that I had, because I was in the restaurant industry. And he asked me for my rental agreement. So I walked to the passenger side of the vehicle, reached him in my right hand so he could see me, pulled out my rental agreement. And when I turned around, he had his gun unholstered, pointing it at my chest. And I just freaked out. But it was something that I couldn't come home and tell my wife.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
And not only did it happen in that state, it happened in Mississippi, and then it happened again in South Carolina. So when my wife started complaining that she wanted me home, it was an easy decision for me, because although I probably would have been a really wealthy man by now, because I had several offers by the companies that I was over, wanted me to be a part of their organization. I didn't feel comfortable living in those states,
Right. Let
and
me
so I
tell let me tell you. As it turns out, money isn't everything.
no, it's not.
It's not everything. Peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have a good life, that is so important. That I mean, I don't know if you can see right now, but that is actually affecting me right now. The stories that you're telling about the cops, because it is so prescient with the things that we go through. It
Mm-hmm.
is simply, I don't know. But anyhow, Paul, look, one of the reasons, like I said, I wanted to have you on is you told a part of your story on our chat, and I wanted to make sure that, like I said, all the people that are, I consider politics done right a family,
Right.
and I want everybody who has stories, anybody who has a story to tell, I want them to know they have a place to tell, because your story is reflected by the stories of hundreds of thousands of people around the country. So if you have anything else to say, please do. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for coming on. So let me hear if there's something else you'd like to say.
Yeah, what I like to tell people is that when it comes to coronavirus, please turn off the TV, listening to the news. Talk to your doctors. I've had this same doctor now. I've had MS for 16 years, and I've had this doctor for my original doctor now for 12 of the 16. And when I tell you, uh, I've been having Zoom calls with him when I couldn't go to the doctor. Um, and this doctor has made special. Matter of fact, in October, I lost the use of my foot again and went to rehab. And he played a special part of that. Your doctors, if you know your doctor, if you trust your doctor, that's the person you lean on. Don't lean on any politicians or anyone else.
Paul Fleming, thank you so kindly for being a part of Politics Done Right.
Thank you. I promote you every day.
I appreciate you, Paul, and please continue to do that. And if you have anything else to say at any other time, please know that you have a home here. Okay, brother?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And that was Paul Fleming's story. You should see Paul always in our chat here. He talks a lot to everybody, and he usually have his phrase. And I don't see him in the house today. I thought he would be here. I thought I told him that I was going to play it today, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, folks, we are close to the end of the program. Let me kind of run through and go ahead and talk to salute my brothers and sisters again. Breach MCP, welcome aboard. Norman Reynolds, welcome aboard. Curtis Jacobs, welcome aboard. Tank 28, welcome aboard. Pam Makwa, welcome aboard. And it seems, I think we got another member. Welcome 4482. I don't know if that's a phone number, so I'm not going to call it out. But thank you so kindly for that new member that just joined. Folks, if you are on YouTube, you can just join us, help us move the message, por favor. You can do that by just going ahead and click on that join button. You click on that join button, you immediately become a member, and I give you a shout out. Not only a shout out, I give you personal messages like, although the personal message that I gave you last night was, hey guys, we're not having a live stream today because I got to finish my taxes and it's a mess. It's a mess. Anyhow, brothers and sisters, let me keep saluting all you great people. But thank you again, new member. You only put numbers, you didn't put a name. I really like a name. And by the way, all of you that are members, I'm going to create a site special, just like I have for the other subscribers. I'm going to have the YouTube subscribers page on the website as well. So because I like to honor people who are doing these good things, unless you don't want your name there. We have some subscribers that say, Berto, I want to support liberal stuff, but I work for the oil company. I don't want them to know that I'm doing this, or I work for this, and I don't want them to know. But if you don't mind, I like to recognize people because we are all in this stuff together. Julie Henderson, welcome aboard. Pam Makwa, I think I called you out. Roberto Luis, mi panameño. Welcome aboard. We grew up together, played music together. You know, I tell people that every time. I kind of miss playing our music, hermano. I miss playing our music. We got to get together and put a band together soon. Let's see. Nanette Bird Smith, welcome aboard. Para ver. She's saying there's some. Let's see. What else is there? She said black doctors. Oh, I get it. I get it. But I tell you what, man. My daughter, she will be one. She's going into her 4th year, and I'm so excited. Okay, let's continue. Norman Reynolds, I think I called you out. I want to call out all my peeps. Bruce Ballard, welcome aboard. Who else is here? Let's see. The Duck. I love that name. The Duck That Quacks is here. Welcome aboard. Let's see. ¿Quién más está aquí? I got Julie already. Masticator. I'm a nice guy, Masticator. It's okay to disagree with me. That's fine. Don't dare think I have some sort of evil in my heart, because I guarantee you that it's not. If you notice, I've never once, Masticator, been rude to you. Not once have I ever treated you with disrespect, brother Masticator. So try to think about how I operate compared to how many folks operate on the right. Think about it. Anyhow, let's continue. With Nanette Bird-Smith. I think I called you up, but hey, I'm getting old. I can't remember all these things, right? I'm going through the list. We have several. Actually, it looks like we're approaching 200 messages now. I'm going up the line. Help me out here. Gracie Allen, welcome aboard. If I didn't call your name, Lee Grant, welcome aboard. If I didn't call your name, go ahead and drop me another line so it'll be to the bottom of the feed. Let's see. Tia Mark Zia Revalo. Para ver quién más está aquí. I think I got everybody. If I didn't get you, drop me a line. You know I love you guys, and I want to make sure and acknowledge everybody. Absolutely everybody. All right, folks, if you're on YouTube, click that join button to help us out here. I'm going to put some more links in the thing right now. Mas and Egberto walk into a bar. What you trying to do, Mas? What are you trying to do? Mas? Yeah, no, it's Tank who put that out there. Yeah, I'll go have a drink. I drink coffee, though. Paul Fleming was out voting. Hey, Paul, I'm so proud of you. Georgia is kicking butt, Paul. Check out your interview. Actually, it's going to have its own blog later on tonight, if not tomorrow, so that you can share it with your friends, etc., Paul. But that was a wonderful interview. I thank you so kindly for the interview. Love you too, Julie. Absolutely so. Okay, folks, look, go get my book, por favor. It'll help you talk to Tank 28, okay? There it is. I just placed the book on there. And you can also get the book at Politics Done Up. Let me put that link up there, politicsdoneright.com/store. And I'm putting that link up there now. And you can also get all my other books. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, Lose Weight and Be Fit Now. I got to do these things to try to support this low revenue thing of trying to bring people into the fold. Anyhow, folks, I know you guys have places to go. I know you could have gone anywhere else. And the fact that you spent some time with me, I am honored. Like I told Brother Paul when I spoke to him, I honored that he talked. And I want to do a call out to all of you. If you have got a story to tell, a positive story, a story that enlightened, a story like what Paul has, all of us have our own stories, right? So if you have a story to tell, drop me a line. And I tell you, I want to hear it. Other people want to hear your story as well. Yeah, a lot of times you write this stuff down in the chat rooms and you may tell partial stories, but there's nothing like you being out there telling the story in your own voice. And like I've always said, Politics Done Right is your voice, what I intend it to be. So please, if you have stories to tell, drop us a line and say, hey, I want to go ahead and tell my story. We've had many of our supporters already on. Like I said, Bruce Pollard. Just look at, I have a bunch. Sometimes I just draw a blank. Anyhow, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. I thank you kindly for being here. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Choco Sugar. That's a new person. Choco Sugar, welcome aboard. I am what? Out. spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.